Southwest Florida sun. We talk cars every week until the deals are done. Pre-owned market news, Jeeps and more. Noble Auto Sales, that is what we are for. Noble Auto Report, week after week. The car news and deals that you need to see. Mike Jr. is here and he is bringing it strong. Noble Auto Sales, come on right along.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to episode number 11 of the Noble Auto Report. This is Mike Jr., representing Noble Auto Sales today, Jeep specialist down in Southwest Florida. We have this podcast occurring every single week. We hope that you're having a great summer. We're nearing the end of it, but we do have Labor Day coming up, so that should be fun. And a lot of the Noble crew is still on vacation, so we're still open, of course, and you can still get a deal and contact us anytime. But me and my dad were having family time with other family up in Delaware over the past week, and now we've gone our separate ways. And my dad continued on his journey up into New England, and I came to visit my mother over in North Carolina, as well as my aunt and uncle who live here. So that's why it's only me this week. We're going to try and get through a great episode and kind of bring you some news that I found and continue on our series about the history of Jeeps. First thing I just wanted to mention was to give a like and a follow if you can to our business on any of the social platforms. If you can, we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anything really, YouTube, Spotify, and yeah, just give a like. It really goes a long way, even if it's just liking a video, like on YouTube. So we are Best of Englewood 2026 for pre-owned vehicle sales. We really take a lot of pride in that. We try to come from an honest, integral approach. We do specialize in Jeeps, but we do have anything outside of that. We have a car finder program that you can fill out on our website. It's at the top of the website page. It's called Car Finder. It's highlighted in yellow. You can fill out that form, tell us exactly what you're looking at, and we have access to about 50,000 cars every single week. So we should be able to get the car that you're looking for at the price that you're trying to get to, and hopefully we can make that happen for you. We've done it a few times over the past couple months. We've been doing it for years, but we've had a lot of success recently. So make sure to check that out. Again, we're in Englewood, Florida. That's Southwest Florida, a little south of Tampa on the Gulf Coast. And the market report, really, the one thing that I wanted to talk about this week was one of my favorite cars on the lot right now. We had a Tesla Model X maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. That ended up selling. We have another Tesla. This one is a Model S. It's also a 2016. It has 150,000 miles, but man, it is in really good condition. Clean title, of course. Good car, great history. It has all the bells and whistles. It also has free lifetime supercharging. So that's what people want when they're looking for the Teslas, because they discontinued that program. But this one has it. So free lifetime supercharging. And this vehicle is only $12,900. So basically you pay $12,900. You get a great running Tesla with free supercharging for the rest of its life. It's so good. So if you want more information on that, you can check out our website at nobleautosalesllc.com. You can also call our phone number, 941-22-NOBLE. That's 941-22-66253. And that is, I think, my greatest deal on the lot right now. I mean, $12,900. You don't have to pay for anything as far as getting the car into propulsion to move for the rest of the time that you own it. That's great. And and it's a gray color as well, with the leather steering wheel and the 10 what's the word I'm looking for? The seats. You can move the seats 10 different ways. It's great. So check that out. Okay, so the next thing that we wanted to talk about was our fourth installment in the history of Jeep. This week, we're going to be talking about AMC stepping into the scene. Remember, we're back, in the 60s and 70s right now in our series. We're running through, a quick history of Jeep and how they came to be and what they went through. So this week, we're talking about how AMC ended up with the Jeep. At the time, Kaiser Jeep had been struggling to turn a profit on the civilian line. They had a great beginning to their time with selling CJs, and then kind of hit a lull. And American Motors Corporation purchased Jeep from Kaiser in 1970. AMC was considered a scrappy underdog automaker, and they were looking to kind of set them apart from the rest of automakers in the automotive industry. And a Jeep, I mean, how much better could you separate yourself from somebody else than with the look of a Jeep? And that's what they did. It was the exact niche product that they needed to survive against the big three. And so what did AMC really inherit? They invented the CJ line. It was still running and still selling. There was also the Wagoneer, which was already established as a premium 4x4 option. And then, of course, there was the Gladiator, which for people that don't know, it's kind of like it looks like a Jeep, but it's a pickup truck version. So that was in the lineup as well when they took over. So they did have a full portfolio from day one, but what they wanted to really do was modernize all of it. And what AMC actually brought to the table was not much as far as cash goes. They didn't have like a ton of cash on hand, but what they were was scrappy and creative. They did invest significantly into four-wheel drive technology and capability. The debut of this technology, or one of the technologies that they developed, was Quadratrac, which is a full-time four-wheel drive system, in case anybody doesn't know. And that debuted under AMC ownership. And this was a big deal because no other consumer offered a 4x4 like this at the time. And in 1974, AMC debuted the Cherokee. We all know the Cherokee. 1974 brought in the first Cherokee. It was a two-door based on the Wagoneer platform, and it kind of filled a gap that existed between this utilitarian CJ and then the luxury of the Wagoneer. And it proved that Jeep could appeal to a broader audience without losing its identity. People thought of Wagoneers, they thought of Cherokees, they thought of CJs, and they immediately kind of clumped them all together into this Jeep branding, and they all kind of fit under that umbrella. It just wasn't the CJ that ran the entire business model of branding. So that was really good for the way that AMC did that, and it laid the groundwork for what the Cherokee would eventually become. But there was pressure building on the CJ because, like we talked about last week, Consumer Reports put out, a lot of bad articles, and AMC knew that the CJ platform had some limitations that they couldn't just engineer away. So what they really did was they begin to work on the replacement for the CJ. And the clock was ticking on the CJ, and AMC knew it. And by the 1980s, AMC came into financial troubles again, and Chrysler came knocking at the door. And when AMC saw the opportunity, they ended up selling to Chrysler for $1.5 billion. They didn't want the cars that AMC had, Chrysler, but they wanted Jeep. They wanted Jeep with the CJ, the Cherokee, the Wagoneer. And what it set up was that Chrysler now owned Jeep, and AMC had already done the hard work on the replacement for the CJ, because remember, there was development going on. And the replacement had just launched the same year that Chrysler bought the company. Now, we all know what that replacement is, right? So next week, we're going to talk about the birth of the Jeep Wrangler and why it was so controversial from day one. And I am really looking forward to that. We're really getting into the good stuff here. I mean, it's all been good, but you know, now we're back. Now we're into the 1980s. I was alive. things things are looking up. And so next week we're going to talk about the beginning of the Chrysler years and the end of the AMC years and the birth of the Wrangler. In Jeep news this week, we're going to talk about a Jeep Compass EV. So Jeep rolled out a full overhaul of the Compass line with the all-electric Compass 4xe. Now, this has 290 miles of range and 213 horsepower out of a 74 kilowatt hour battery. So the size is right. It's not so big it becomes a problem to drive or park in the city. The design team is getting credit for making this Compass feel like a Jeep despite sharing a platform with several other Stellantis vehicles. Now, last week we talked about the platform interchangeability that Stellantis is trying to do with their new platform program, that where every car, I think for 30 models across different makes that they own, are going to use the same platform, the same kind of frame, and build on top of that to cut production costs and hopefully lower the price tag for consumers. And the Jeep Cherokee or the Jeep Compass EV is going to be on a shared platform as well. So the boxy silhouette that works against some of its platform siblings actually plays right into Jeep's strength. The performance is described so far as ample, with the electric power tuned more toward refinement than raw speed. And the physical controls are still present for the most used functions, which is a win. Reviewers say this Jeep and Jeep itself is ahead of the game compared to other Stellantis stablemates when it comes to having its own identity. And that's true. That's true. There's a lot of Jeeps coming out. There's a lot of special Jeeps that are coming out in the next few years, and looking forward to that. Also wanted to touch on, speaking of which, a special edition Jeep Wrangler for 2027 that I saw on the news. It's called the Smoky Mountain Special Edition. And Jeep unveiled this at the Smoky Mountain Invasion in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which was one of the largest Jeep events in the country. Now, this is the 10th release in Jeep's 12 for 12 program, which is a year-long series of 12 special edition Wranglers that Jeep is putting out. This was built on the Wrangler Willys platform with Dana 44 axles, locking rear differential, steel rock rails, and 33-inch all-terrain tires, biggins. The exterior gets Smoky Mountain themed hood decals, gloss black grille, body color hardtop, and 17-inch smoky black wheels meant to evoke the mist-covered peaks of the mountains. And inside there's a mama bear and cub detail on the shifter as a nod to the region's wildlife, which is pretty cool, and terracotta stitching and blaze orange accents throughout. Really sharp looking. They also added heated seats, heated steering wheel, and dual zone climate control on top of what the standard Willys already came with. Now, the cool thing about this is that the price is only $80 more than the standard Wrangler Willys. So if you just like the vibe of it and you like the way that it looks in this special edition, you can get it instead of the Willys. So it's kind of a no-brainer if you like the look of it. And that's kind of the news for this week. I didn't really have anybody to bounce things off of, but I wanted to get something out there, keep it quick, and just remind everybody, check out our inventory on our website. We're a small dealership, but just because we physically might not have what you're looking for, we have access to over 50,000 cars. We've been in the business for over 40 years. We won Best of Englewood because we do what we say and we're trustworthy and honest, and we really try our best to make everybody happy. And if you want to find us on our socials, please do so at Noble Auto Sales on all the ones I mentioned, which is basically all the ones that you can think of. We have a lot more content coming soon. We have a special media kind of push coming out very soon, and we'll talk about that once it's released. But until then, I hope everybody has a great weekend. We're going to be all back in Englewood, Florida next week when we have our next episode. So hope you all take care and enjoy the rest of your summer. Bye.